Tonight, family, we gather once again around the digital fireplace, because Prince Harry, yes, our Harry, the man who has weathered storms the average royal wouldn't survive 5 minutes in, has spoken. And when Prince Harry speaks, he speaks with purpose, with compassion, and with a depth of humanity that the British establishment still pretends not to understand. But they understand. Oh, they understand very well, which is exactly why he terrifies them. Because while others sit in palaces polishing medals they didn't earn, Harry is out here serving real people, real families, real children. And this week he gave the world another reminder of who he truly is. Harry released a deeply moving foreword for WellChild's new Impact report. And in those pages you don't just read words. You feel heart. You feel sincerity. You feel a man who has lived through institutional neglect and vowed never to repeat that cycle. A man who refuses to let families fall through the cracks the way his mother once did. He spoke about the enormous strain families across the UK are facing. Families caring for seriously ill children, navigating a healthcare system buckling under pressure. Harry didn't sugarcoat it. He didn't hide behind PR lines. He didn't deflect or distract. He told the truth, plainly, compassionately, and boldly, something the tabloids could never bring themselves to do. And that's exactly why they attacked him before he even spoke. They always do. Because Harry's compassion exposes their cruelty. His authenticity exposes their hypocrisy. And his leadership exposes the empty silence of the institution he walked away from. While some royals fly across continents for photo ops, Harry has been quietly, steadfastly doing this work for 17 years. Since 2007, he has been showing up for WellChild families again and again. And unlike the firm, he doesn't show up only when cameras roll. He shows up because he cares. Tonight, we're diving deep into this powerful statement, the truth behind it, and what it reveals about the UK's failing support structure for vulnerable families, something the monarchy should have addressed decades ago, but didn't. And we're also going to talk about how Harry's honesty triggers the same tired haters who hate seeing him admired for anything. Let's start from the top. Harry begins his foreword with humility, saying he's humbled by the extraordinary spirit of the WellChild community. Already you can feel his sincerity. Harry doesn't position himself above these families. He stands with them. That alone separates him from half the monarchy, who still believe the public exists to clap quietly but never speak. Then he acknowledges that the challenges these families face have not lessened, something that cuts sharply against the narrative of everything is fine the UK government and certain papers would love people to believe. He speaks about the pressure on health and social care services, the kind of pressure the tabloids avoid discussing because it exposes government negligence. Harry isn't afraid of that. He will tell the truth, even if it makes powerful people uncomfortable. He praises WellChild for stepping in where others, institutions with more money, more staff, more resources, have failed. 57 WellChild nurses across the UK have directly supported more than 3,600 families. That's not symbolic work. That is real, measurable impact. That is changing lives. And yet, somehow, the British press still tries to frame Harry as irrelevant. The man out here supporting thousands of families is irrelevant, but the royals doing ribbon cuttings for luxury events are essential? Make it make sense. Oh, that's right, it doesn't make sense. It never has. Because Harry doesn't play their game. Harry is not interested in the optics of service. he is interested in service itself, and that is something the old institution cannot compete with. He talks about the privilege of meeting the WellChild Award winners, children with unimaginable strength, parents holding their worlds together with love and hope, and professionals who refuse to let bureaucratic failures stand in the way of care. Harry says these moments remind him of what matters most: community, connection, and compassion. Meanwhile, the palace is still busy, insisting that smiling next to a horse is duty. Harry praises the growth of the family tree support network, a lifeline for parents who often feel isolated. He talks about how this network stretches across the UK, offering friendship, advice, and solidarity. He reminds families that they are not alone. A message so deeply human it almost feels shocking, coming from a world that often turns its back on suffering. And then, in a moment that speaks volumes about who Harry is, he says he is especially proud. Let that sink in. Proud, not of himself, not of his image, but of the people fighting every day to care for their children. You see, when Harry speaks about pride, he speaks about communities. When his family speaks about pride, they speak about centuries-old titles. That alone tells you everything about the difference in values. Harry ends his foreword with gratitude, thanking the staff, the trustees, the nurses, the supporters, the volunteers, and the families. He says, "Your part in our story changes lives every day." And that, right there, is why the establishment hates him. Because he centres people, not hierarchy. Humanity, not hierarchy. And while Harry's doing this transformative work, what are the haters doing? Sitting on television sets, reading scripts handed to them by palace spokespeople, writing columns dripping with resentment, crying into microphones about how Harry abandoned the monarchy while he's out here supporting thousands of families across the UK. What they can't stand is simple. Harry left, and he still outshines them from California. Let's get into the heart of it, because this is where the taboo truth sits. Harry's compassion exposes the monarchy's neglect. If one prince can make this much impact on the lives of sick children and their families, imagine what the entire institution could do if they truly cared. But they don't. And Harry's work shows that. It shows how the firm chooses tradition over transformation, optics over care, silence over service. And that is exactly why the tabloids work day and night to tear down Meghan. Because they know she amplifies Harry's compassion. She strengthens his mission. She brings clarity, warmth, strategy and heart. They know she elevates him, and they hate that. But here's the secret they don't want people to know. Harry and Meghan aren't competing with the monarchy. The monarchy is competing with them, and losing. Harry's work with WellChild speaks to something far deeper than charity. It speaks to identity. It speaks to legacy. It speaks to the man Diana raised him to be. And the more he shows up with his heart on his sleeve, the clearer it becomes that he inherited her soul. And that is something no tabloid can smear, no commentator can erase, no fake royal expert can overshadow. Tonight we celebrate this powerful statement because it reminds people that leadership is not about crowns or castles. It's about compassion. It's about showing up. It's about telling the truth, even when the truth is uncomfortable. Harry didn't need a balcony to impact 3,600 families. He didn't need a title to support WellChild. He didn't need palace machinery to express courage. He needed heart, he needed purpose, and he needed the freedom to serve. And that is exactly what he and Meghan have built in California: freedom, compassion, and purpose. While the firm remains trapped in a centuries-old performance of relevance, Harry and Meghan have created real relevance. Now let's take this deeper, because a 69-minute script needs emotional grounding, historic context, character analysis, and narrative expansion. So we zoom out. We look at the larger truth. Families caring for seriously ill children often feel invisible in society. The system is overstretched, underfunded, and in many cases indifferent. Parents are expected to become full-time nurses, therapists, advocates, and emotional anchors, all while maintaining jobs, households, and sanity. These families are warriors living inside quiet storms. WellChild doesn't just offer medical support, it offers dignity, it offers breath, it offers companionship. The thing most missing from state structures. Harry's connection to these families is not symbolic, it's profound. He has spoken many times about how meeting WellChild parents changed him as a man. He has held their hands, listened to their stories, shared their grief, celebrated their victories. These relationships are not temporary or transactional. They are the foundation of the kind of world Harry believes in. Now, let's contrast that with the Royal Institution, because the contrast is stark. While Harry is writing heartfelt forewords and showing real leadership, the firm is busy burying reports, hiding scandals, and trying to distract the public with PR stunts. They'll attend a charity event, stay for 12 minutes, smile, wave and leave. That is not service. That is performance. Harry is service. Meghan is service. And together they are redefining what modern royal work should have been all along. Let's talk about that famous phrase of Harry's. A life of service is universal. The palace mocked him for it. But his WellChild work proves him right every single day. Service is not about proximity to crowns. It's about proximity to humanity. And if we're going to keep it real, nobody in that family does humanity better than Harry and Meghan. We now move into the emotional midsection of the episode, where we really paint the picture for the audience. Let's talk about the WellChild families themselves, the parents who barely sleep, the parents who face hospital visits like clockwork, the parents who juggle fear and hope every day. These families don't care about tabloids. They don't care about hierarchy. They care about survival. They care about kindness. They care about people who show up. And Harry has shown up for nearly 2 decades. Let's talk about those 57 WellChild nurses. 57 individuals placed across the UK, offering direct, life-changing support to over 3,600 families, often in ways that the NHS cannot due to funding constraints. These nurses don't just provide medical care, they provide hope, they provide stability, they prevent crises. They keep children at home where they belong instead of hospitals. Harry shines a spotlight on this, something the tabloids could never be bothered to do. They prefer discussing Meghan's nail polish. But tonight we shine the light where it matters. We lift up these families, we uplift these nurses, we uplift Harry's advocacy. And in doing so, we expose how broken the UK's media priorities truly are. Now we expand deeper. We explore how Harry's mother, Diana, shaped this part of his identity. She took him into hospitals, hospices, youth centres. She let him sit with people in pain, in joy, in vulnerability. She taught him emotional literacy, something severely lacking in the institution he was born into. When Harry stands with WellChild families, he is channeling the very best of Diana. And that's why the public responds. Because Diana's legacy lives strongest in Harry, and in the compassion he and Meghan share together. We also need to discuss how Meghan elevated Harry's voice. Meghan didn't change Harry, she empowered him. She gave him the supportive partnership he never had. When two compassionate people join forces, they create impact far beyond what either could do alone. That is what the firm fears most. A healthy, loving, powerful black American Duchess standing beside the most emotionally intelligent prince of his generation. So they try to smear, they try to distort, they try to minimize, but the impact remains. Now we enter the final emotional arc, the gratitude. Harry thanks every single person involved in WellChild's work. He honors their labor, their sacrifice, their resilience. He says he is honored to stand beside them. That line right there tells the whole story. Harry doesn't speak as a prince above the people. He speaks as a human among humans. He speaks from his heart, not his title. And the world sees it. Tonight, as we close this 69-minute episode, we sit with the truth that Prince Harry has become exactly the kind of leader the modern world needs. Compassionate, transparent, grounded, and unbothered by the noise of people who couldn't do a fraction of what he does. We end by reminding our audience that when the tabloids try to smear Harry and Meghan, it's because they're threatened by authenticity, threatened by compassion, threatened by freedom. But truth doesn't need a palace to shine. Truth shines from service. Truth shines from compassion. Truth shines from people like Harry and Meghan. And now, as always, I want to thank you, the Royal Sussex Squad family, for standing with us, for amplifying truth, for pushing back against hate. Before you go, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a super thanks to support the channel and keep independent Sussex storytelling alive. This has been Royal Sussex Squad. We speak truth, we uplift compassion, and we will always stand with Harry and Meghan. Good night, family, and stay royal.